Got an AFC, NFC tilt. We got the Seahawks and the Jaguars, two teams I've actually been associated with in my life, which is funnily enough on coast to coast. Jags are 1-point home favorites after that big win on Monday night. Seahawks are traveling across the country after really one of the most exciting games of the entire year. Cheat sheet is just one thing. It's not a deep dive, just your one singular thing for this game. What's your cheat sheet item for this week?
Jaguars defense seems susceptible to like good players, good offenses, you know, because last week was like, hey,
blue chips.
Injured Brock Purdy in that 49ers offense. I guess that's doable for them. But when Patrick Mahomes came into town, last week was not good for them. And I think that Seattle's offense, with how they performed last week, there's room for them to have a big game, especially if Trayvon Walker is out again, because they need him to be a hammer against the run. They weren't good defending the run against Kansas City, got shredded through the air, but due to all the wacky hijinks we saw, they were able to get that game across the finish line. But I think Seattle's offense has a chance to have a big game this week.
Yeah, also, like, we kind of a trade takeaway here, trade reaction. We had the Tyson Campbell, Greg Newsome trade between the Browns and the Jags because they're the only team.
It's just weird.
Campbell hasn't been great this year, so I kind of see that, but it's kind of interesting. Yeah, Newsome I've always pictured as a slot. But then does this mean, Jordan Lewis has been phenomenal this year. He's played in the slot, and then Travis Hunter has played in the slot. So I think that's kind of curious. I like Newsome. I think he's a good, solid player. And I think I've seen Campbell. Campbell ideally is like a super duper number two, like an amazing number two and kind of a low end one corner. And Lewis has been outperforming him this year. So I think they are like, hey, screw this money. Like, let's get out of it. So make throw a little dart at Greg Newsome. I totally understand that. It's one of those I marinated on. And then after sleeping on it, whatever, I've just been like, oh, okay, it kind of makes more sense than at first. I was like, what is this? What is this trade in October with pick swaps involved and everything? So, I understand it as I've kind of marinated on it. But I don't really have for this game because I like your points there. I think the Jags back end, like their safeties, are very susceptible to explosive plays. So the Seahawks have the most explosive passing game. Might be a big JSN week or a Torrey Horton shot play. I could see that happening in this game, definitely. Maybe you get a little bit of more Elijah Arroyo split out. My one thing, though, this is just a random stat I want to throw out here. Diami Brown, who I think is playing. I did not check if he has any injuries this week, but
a lot of targets in the last drive.
He did. I've always liked Diami Brown because he's like a nice dirty work guy, and he can play on the outside. Yeah, he's playing. We're good. So I was looking him up, and this is so noisy, but I just had to share it. He's such a good run blocker that I kind of kept noticing him against the Chiefs. So I was like, you're really helping pop this run open. Like really getting to the second level and digging out this safety. And there's Travis Etienne popping off another run, who's Etienne's playing great too. I just looked it up because I was curious. The Jags rushing success rate jumps from 26th ranked rushing success rate offense to the second best in the entire NFL when Brown is on the field. He missed one game, but 55 runs with him on the field, 50% rushing success rate. 68 runs with him not on the field, 35% success rate. So I was like, of course, there's a ton of noise, personnel groupings, who they're going against, but he does help. And I just wanted to throw that little aside in here that, like, Diami Brown, your blocking is getting noticed on Football 301. Brent Strange is out for the Jags, too. So it's kind of a weird week for them overall, kind of like figuring out the personnel if Walker's out on both sides. But I am also going to go with the Seahawks here. Yeah, we got a great little tweet here on our YouTube show. You can see they impacted the room because he just does dirty work and he's a good outside receiver. So yeah, I just wanted to give him a little shout out in that aspect. But I think the Seahawks explosive passing game might be a little too much for the Jags. Jags defense to hold up. I think this game turns into a shootout, which I'm pretty excited about. All right, last cheat sheet item. The other Monday Night Football game involving your Atlanta Falcons. We have the Bills-Falcons. And really, actually, no. What's your cheat sheet item before I even say mine? Because mine is just a question. What is the Falcons defense? They're first in DVOA right now. First.
Yeah.
First.
I'm look, I know people got on me for being just like the OG Falcons defensive hater for a long time. And to be fair, I think that's earned. what's there to be proud of? They haven't had like a legit good defense since Michael Vick was the quarterback. Like it's 2025. Yeah. That's really crazy. But when you look at their numbers, man, I guess here's how I feel about the Falcons defense. They're better for sure. They're definitely better than they were last year. I think like the additions that they made, more so on the back end with some of the plays that Xavier Watts has made, and especially Billy Bowman, has made. Like those two guys have stepped up, and we're still seeing flashes from Jalen Walker and James Pierce. But people are not people, but like the whole apparatus of like their image still hangs on that week 2 game against the Vikings, where I just think that was mostly about JJ McCarthy not being ready for the NFL stage, or maybe doesn't look like an NFL quarterback.
It is what it is. I mean, it's like pretty apparent. Like you don't even need stats. If you watch a quarter of that game, it's like, oh yeah, you need another red shirt, don't you? Yeah. I
mean, if you just go to that game, the Falcons, it was almost minus 20 EPA for the whole game, almost minus 2 EPA per drive. I mean, they couldn't do anything in that game. So, but if you pull out that game and just look at their other 3 games that they played for the season, like they've come out to be just average to below average defense. They've been like even without the Vikings game in there, still top 5 in third down rate, top 2 in explosive play rate, about middle of the pack for EPA and success rate, but they're pretty bad in terms of points per drive. That points per drive number drops to 2.61, which is 27th in the league if you pull out week 2. So this game's just gonna be like when we figure out what these guys are. I certainly don't think they're like the number 1 DVOA defense in the league. I certainly don't think they're that, but I do think that maybe they could be like a top 20 unit for the rest of the season. Yeah. And the further away you get from that Vikings game, I think we'll probably see that. Oh no, that was a JJ McCarthy deal, not really about the Falcons defense.
Yeah, my only note was I had where the QBs faced so far were Baker Mayfield with Graham Barton playing left tackle, JJ McCarthy in his second career start, Bryce Young, and Marcus Mariota. So it's kind of, I know DVOA adjusts for opponent, but also you need more data points for it to kind of work out. And all the EPA numbers are pretty solid. Like you mentioned, they're 8th in EPA per play. Success rate wise, they're 15th, which again, that feels more what they are, 15th to 20th, like you said, where it's just, I think, they're a little iffy against the run. And this is one of the best run offenses in the NFL. They're going against, the freaking dragon, Josh Allen, Professor Chaos, who is just gonna he can do whatever he wants any single week. So a lot bigger test than Marcus Mariota at home or Bryce Young or JJ McCarthy in the second start. Josh Allen in this offense can kind of keep it going. And this is where, yes, they don't have that true number 1, but having a whole bunch of 2s and 3s for the Bills passing wise kind of comes up, because going against a defense like this, that's like punching above their weight, but definitely has weaknesses. All right, we just find where that weakness is, and we just poke at it over and over. It's the slot. It's deep balls. Like that's kind of to me what you can attack with this. And then the run game for the Falcons, they're 27th in the rushing success rate allowed, and going against this Bills team that is James Cook, that great O-line. Again, we talk about controlling the game. It's like that's how you keep a pretty dang good Falcons offense off the field. Remember, like a really good run game. It's like, well, we have a run game too with Josh Allen, so over time, over 4 quarters, that kind of wins out as the game goes along. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about the Falcons defense a little bit, because I'm trying to figure it out too. And it's like, I think they do have some juice to get after the passer a little bit more. They don't have a lot of knockdowns either. They're kind of high sack to hit rate, which is always like red alert kind of blaring a little bit. So again, I think we're both on. Yeah, where was he? Like 16 hits, 14 sacks, something like that.
His pressure to sack ratio was out of this world, but it wasn't getting too many pressures on down basis.
And that's kind of how they feel. And I think the run game, they're a little light in the pants, and they're going against a Bills team that's got Deion Dawkins with his beer belly out there, and like just absolute beef on the O-line, and goes big bodies with 3 tight ends, and So I think the Bills, I use that term natural answer. They got every natural answer in the world against this Falcons defense that has been playing better. So I just kind of curious, want to focus on them for this game because we talk about these offenses a lot. Falcons are 4.5-point underdogs at home. Are you emotionally hedging with the Bills?
No. Come on. I'm not gonna get up for a game against the Bills. Like, I'll watch it, but like if something goes bad, like whatever. That's Buffalo, you know?
Yeah, you just move on. You said cracky jokes. You win. No matter what, Charles wins.
20-3. Yeah, nothing's as bad as 20-3. Ever. So they really can't hurt me like they could 10 years ago.
I know. I'm waiting for my Mariners to just disappoint on Friday night.
Yeah, so they're getting some hopes up. The stakes are rising.
And they're going against the best pitcher in baseball. Yeah, I'm already emotionally hedged against the loss or for the loss. So I'm like, all right, well, just try and enjoy this. Try and figure out what sweatshirt isn't unlucky. I'm going Bills here. I actually think they overwhelm them, even if it's at Atlanta and all that. Atlanta's coming off a bye.
Me too.
All right, we'll cap off the show. It's time for some Hail Marys. So this is where we throw up a prayer of a prediction, a hot take, a bold prediction, however you want to put it. Charles is still waiting to get on the board, but he's getting there. We're getting there. Like there's some game scripts just got to break your way. I did not get mine last week. I had the Browns could not upset the Vikings, but like that it was looking good for a minute there.
It was close.
I was feeling pretty dang good when Carson Wentz was doing some spin moves in the pocket and taking 3 hits in a row. By the way, Carson Wentz is on the injury report. So that was exactly how
That's
I thought
surprising.
Quinshon Judkins went off for 100 yards. It unfolded exactly how I envisioned it, and they just couldn't pull it off in London. But Charles, was your Hail Mary this week?
This is disgusting because I'm tailing you on a Browns. Yeah, I'm tailing you on a Browns Hail Mary. I think the Browns beat the Steelers. Actually, this is my Hail Mary. I don't know if I think it happens, but my Hail Mary is Dylan Gabriel, first career win. Browns beat the Steelers on the backs of the defense just absolutely blacking out against Aaron Rodgers and Quinshon Judkins carrying the ball about 30 times. It's going to be a real gross game, but I think they can get it done.
Just muck it up. That Browns defense, man, they just can muck it up and just keep it tight. Then it just comes down to like 3 plays. As long as you don't turn it over. I know it sounds like an old coach thing, but this is kind of what it looks like. What's so funny is I almost went with the exact same one, but then I was like, I can't do the Browns again. Then I'm just becoming a character. They're not bad. They're not bad. Like especially with Judkins getting going, like they're okay. The defense kicks ass and all those guys. So. I know. I mean,
they're pretty bad. They're pretty bad. They're pretty bad.
But it's not like
pretty bad.
Matt put it best earlier this week. He was like, they're not the worst thing in the league, which is what I was expecting.
No.
The worst unit in the league being that offense. It's like, okay, they're 27th instead. It's not 32nd. It's just still bottom 5, but not bottom 1. So almost went with that one. But I went with this week's London game or international game. I went with the Jets upset the Broncos as nearly a touchdown underdog. And it's just a little bit of a little emotional letdown, from the Broncos. They had a huge win at Philly, now traveling to London. Okay. All right. A lot of hours there, a lot of hours on the body clock. And we got the Jets who underlying stats, like kill it on first and second down on both sides of the ball. One of the best first and second down teams as far as moving the ball, explosive plays. They have the most explosive run game in the entire NFL. Yes, you heard me right. And they also have like a decently like efficient passing game. Like Justin Fields is like doing some nice things, like as far as just processing and everything. And they just can't have their -8, I believe, -8 in the turnover differential. So like when I posted some stats earlier this week, Jets fans were like, well, why do we suck then? It's like, well, don't turn the ball over and get some turnovers. There, done. Got it for you. It's like, don't get penalized as much as you guys are getting penalized and don't turn the ball over. And so I'm looking at their 9th in offensive suplex rate, just overall, 12th in defensive suplex rate, playing against some decent teams too. They don't get a ton of explosive passes, but that's fine. Going against a Broncos defense that they're in suplex, they're first. So it's like, okay, best badass defense. Been watching them. you can get them a little bit more than the best defense in the league. You know, it's still a really good defense. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, it's not perfect. You know, they're really kind of, it's so funky on the front end. They do so much movement on the front end that if you go like that, you can get them in the run game. So this is kind of where my theory is coming from, is that it's a Jets run the ball 100 times, you know, not literally, but 30, 40 times, just really just lean into it, road grade them as they try to do all this funkiness, hit enough pass plays. That's the thing. Now we're taking Surtain out of the game and taking the DBs out of the game and just turn it to a front seven battle. Yeah, we got some young offense tackles going against like Nick Bonito and some other guys. As I'm talking this out, I'm like, God, I hate this already. But we got the Jets. My whole theory is that the Jets run game will turn it over. They don't turn the ball over, and they kind of just muck it up in a win. Get Bo Nix to turn the ball over once or twice. I do think Sean Payton will have plenty of answers because that Jets defense is pretty easy to figure out. But Quinnen Williams dominating still. Yeah. It's just that the other guys that kind of have to step up a little bit. So this is why it's a Hail Mary, folks. This is why it's not a lock. But I think at the very least, Jets cover. But I'm saying that they're going to beat them outright.
I think I do like this as a Hail Mary, but I think what happens in this game is like the Jets kind of provide the blueprint for another team to gash them in the playoffs. Yeah. You know? Yep. They don't get it done quite, but, you know, Buffalo's looking at it like, maybe we can do that again like we did last year in the playoffs. Yeah, that's what I think happens.
That's a great theory. That happens sometimes. Some of those bad teams just show off the blueprint like, oh, that defense mucked it up. Oh, copy that. Let's see how we use it. We'll use it for us. Wrapping it up. That's fun. I love in the Hail Marys because it's like gives me a little something to keep my eye on.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm rooting for myself to go 0-18 on these Hail Marys now.
No, I won't. No, we're cashing them in. We gotta get at least on the board a couple times. We got one so far. That's so many close calls. That's like, come on.